Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are back for another stream. It's a new week. It's a new day. And I worked a little bit on this collection since the last time I streamed it. So I thought I'd pull up kind of what I've been doing with the ones that I did finish. And then we're going to work on one of the other versions of it. So I broke the palettes down into like orange, red, green, and yellow. And so this is the orange one. And I was working on making some like prints with the vegetables that we drew the like couple streams ago. I'm trying to remember exactly when that was. But I finished like all the line work and the color fills. And so I started putting them together. These are still kind of rough. But when I start making like the surface design stuff, I don't aim for perfection right away. Like I just kind of shift things around. I play around with some different shapes and pattern types, and then I make a ton of different variations. And then after I have like a bunch of them, I'll usually pick out like my top 3, and then those are the ones I keep. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Something else I was gonna mention, but I don't remember. Oh, we might tomorrow. We're either gonna do some gouache painting again, or we're gonna do some storyboard studies. I haven't 100% decided yet. I don't know what you guys would prefer to see. But yeah, so here's this one. This one's a bit more orange than the other one, and then I did a little bit more of a yellow background on this one, and then I did kind of like a gingham background pattern print here. I feel like this one's really cute. This one feels really nostalgic to me. I feel like when I was a kid, like these are the prints my mom and grandmother would often get to make. We have like these microwavable, we call them like hot bags, and you put like rice or flaxseed inside of them so you can microwave them to heat them up. But they usually did like cute prints for the bags, and this reminds me of something that they would have chosen. So I'm pretty happy with how they're all like turning out with like a vintage type edge to it, which I wasn't 100% planning, but I really like that it ended up that way. So yeah, like let's go. But yeah, guys, these are the 2 that I have done. I'm gonna work on some more variations at some point. I did test them out on some mock-ups on my RedBubble shop, and they look pretty darn cute. I feel like these kind of like they blend in a little bit too much, so I might try to add a lighter background so that the vegetables on top stand out more. Kind of like this one. I like that contrast, you know? Like I don't want to end up losing the vegetables. I mean, that's definitely a style of its own, but I think I want to make sure that they're like main players. And then we have this one up here, which looks so cute on the notebook. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to buy one of those when this is done. So yeah, let's yeah, here's the different palettes. So I just completed the orange one. Let's get going on finishing the illustrations for the red palette now. I think I'm not sure if I ended up doing this leafy, I think it's rhubarb. That's what I was going for. I think I ended up not doing that. Let's see what I have. We have tomatoes, of course. Looks like I did cherry tomatoes. Oh, I did do the rhubarb. Okay. I'm here for that. Oh, this was the test fill layer. But now that I've already established like a style, I have to make sure that I am using the exact brushes and I'm using the exact like sort of way I used my brush strokes as well. Like when I did the line work, I used straight lines even when drawing curves, just so it kind of gave it like a rough edge rather than a perfectly like smooth. So I took notes on all that kind of stuff. I'm hoping it's gonna help. We got red beets, we've got cabbage, and I think that's it for the red. I say we start with the tomatoes. What I was doing before I started stream is I was taking the rough illustrations and I sized them up I have these lines on the top and bottom, and I'm just kind of like fitting them in there scale wise so that they're all consistent. That way the line work looks the same thickness on each one. So we're gonna scale them up. And then I don't think I did this on my last stream where I did this with you guys. I think we were still drawing the outlines, but what I do is I convert each one to a smart object, which you all will see shortly. That way we can edit each one individually and it won't affect the scaling anymore. Because we are definitely gonna be shrinking these down when we turn them into when we turn into patterns. Like I scaled those other ones way down, but I don't want to lose the ability to rescale it bigger. So that's why I make it a smart object. And I'll also show you kind of how the pattern preview function works on Photoshop, in case you've ever been curious. You definitely want to be using smart object layers. Otherwise, it ends up like cutting off. Just try and center this. This one gonna be a little bit bigger. I may have made these a little long. I noticed I had that issue with the onions I did, which turned out really cute, but I think it's a little bit more difficult to fit when you have these really tall ones. And when it comes to really big round ones, I'm not taking those all the way. But generally around the same size, and it seemed to work on the other ones I made. So this one I have cut in half apparently. I like that because I think I did that because I like the inside of the purple against the white. It's pretty. Righto, I think we're good to go. Let's start with the tomatoes. Convert to smart object. Let me just move this so you guys can see. Don't do that, Photoshop. Alright. Let me just move a little bit more. What you do is you just right click your layer and you'll see this option here for convert. You guys still can't see it. 1 minute. I got you. Alright, so you right click your layer once it's selected and there's gonna be an option for convert to smart object. You click that and then you'll see this little like icon appears and it tells you that it's a smart object layer. And so what happens is you can double click this layer now and it opens it into what I like to call a side Photoshop file. I believe you can save these and there's a reason why you can save them as a separate file. I'm not sure why anyone would do it that way. I know there's a reason for it. I haven't found a reason to do it that. But what you do, well, this is what I do when I'm creating my patterns, is I have this rough sketch. And you can see that it is not the scale of the file I had before, but is the scale of the object from the other file. And you can see that the edges of the tomato go right to the edge. And I don't usually like working like that. Just in case, like, I don't want like straight cutoffs on my line work if I end up going over. So I'll shrink down my rough sketch and then center it again in here. And then I'll name this the rough layer, and then you can lower the opacity and do your line work over top. Guys, I was working on a pixel art project, so I have a pixel art brush. That's why that one looked like that. But anyway, let me just show you a quick example. All right, here's our little tomato. Pretend that's the clean line work. Then you get rid of the rough layer, you can hide it underneath, and you just hit save, Control S. And if you move back to your original file, you can see it is now here and the changes have been made. So every time you go back to the other like side file that's in the smart object file, I would call it, and you make changes and you hit save, it's going to update it here in the main file. And the reason that we're doing this is because if we go into view and pattern preview, it's going to warn us, works best with smart objects. Transforming pixel layers may show unexpected results. Unexpected meaning it's going to... Let me show you guys. It can often like degrade the quality as you keep expanding it and shrinking it. And then also, say I draw in pixels, that's a tomato, right? And I'm like, I actually want the tomato here. You say, okay. And then you want to move it again. What just happened is it split it into these 4 different quadrants. So now you have 4 of them. Not exactly ideal. So when you work with a... Sorry, these also will slow down your Photoshop. But see, we have our smart object here. If I move it into that corner and then I want to move it again, it does not split it. So what it's doing the other way is that, imagine it's like mirroring, and which makes it repeat its like pattern print. And so if you put the pixels in the one corner, they're going to pop out on the other side. Like, let me show you. It's almost like this. So if you draw here and then you go to this corner, see how it's happening up here? So it's splitting it 4 ways. But if you work with the smart object, it's not counting it as... how's a good way to describe it? It's non-destructible. I think that's just the best way to say it. It's not going to act like it's pixels. It's going to protect it. And this also works if you're using the shape tools. And those are like vector based. Those work as well. They won't get divided. So it's almost like making your pixel files into like a vector type format, even though that isn't exactly what's happening, but it does protect it. So I'm just going to turn this off for now though. We don't need this on. That's how that works. And so if I want to get back into this tomato layer, I can just double click and I'm back in. What I was doing is putting in a background color so I could see. I think actually I was doing white. We can see if we hit save, we go back, there's just going to be a big white chunk. That's kind of how it works. Hello, Scott. Yeah, start with basic shapes and firm the texture from there. Interesting use of layering there. Yeah, I picked this up when I started wanting to learn how to do like surface design. There were a couple people on YouTube that showed me how to do the layering properly, so shout out to them. It was a lot of different people, but it works. And that way I can keep, you know, adding stuff to the layers without, you know, being committed to it. It's kind of nice. All right, so I put a white background on is what I did. And then I had to find my brush that I used. I'm trying to like retrace my steps from the other collection, so I know what I'm doing. I used, what brush? I used the Interblock brush from the winter pack. And I made it size 90. I'm just gonna make a copy of this brush because there we go. I keep having to like adjust the size and it's a pain. Let me just make sure it's working right. It seems good. Doesn't feel any different than the other one. I don't think I have flow turned on. Alright, so we need to decide Do we want to do warmer breads or like cooler breads? Kind of like the idea of doing cooler since we're gonna have some red beets as well as the cabbage. So I think we're gonna run in the cooler zone. Let's test this out. That looks nice. That's a good tomato red. Yeah, and so the line work, I was just kind of using like straight lines. And I just like how, maybe that's a little too much. It keeps it looking a little bit rough. I wanted to have that rougher type look to it. Hey Sarah, watching this is making me hungry. I know, hungry for like fresh vegetables. Oh, it's a tomato. Hello, Base Cat. It is a tomato. This is one of the... So I had a garden magazine that my mom usually gets, and there were a lot of different tomato varieties. And so this is like a longer, smaller tomato. Let me see if I can find it in here. I also need to pull this out to reference. Nope, those are flowers. Okay, hold up. Yeah, there's a ton of different tomato varieties that you can see. These are tomatoes. And so for this tomato, I was going for something like that. I have some more regular looking ones. But I wanted to kind of like... I wanted this collection to feel not so like stereotypical, like this is what a tomato looks like. You know how, there's a stereotypical idea of like what a tomato looks like, what a carrot looks like, what a pepper looks like. And when I was looking through this magazine, I was like really inspired by all the different varieties. So some of the varieties I didn't care for, some of them I did, and the ones I did like, I ended up, trying to add those into it. Okay, let's do the tops. Let's do not too cool of a green. I noticed that I need to make the line work a little bit darker when I was working on the other ones. And make that a little smaller. This is pretty much my process though. I just kind of play around until it feels right. Let's just erase this out. I think I want to get my texture eraser. Does the program you're using have an eyedropper for grab? Yes, it does. You just hit it's in like the toolbar, or you can just hit I, which is the hotkey for that. So I could sample. I guess I could take a picture. I could have used the magazine as like a way to sample colors and make a palette. I didn't think of doing that. Maybe next time. I feel like I've already kind of like made the workflow for this one, so I'm just gonna roll with it. I feel like I'm a little confused what my sketch was doing under here. Like what? This happens a lot when you work on a project over a long period of time. That's what I do. Maybe it's cheating, but it works. I wouldn't call it cheating. I feel like it's just another way of doing it. I feel like there's some people say like using the grid method is cheating, and I don't believe it's cheating. There's some people even trace, and I don't think it's not necessarily cheating. It just really depends on like what you want to do. And sometimes you don't have the time, you know what I mean? Like, it's always good to hone your skills for, like, if I had to mix these colors with paints, like, that's an important skill to learn. But if you're in a hurry and you know you can mix these colors if you had the time, but it would take you like 1 second to color pick. Like I don't think that's cheating. I think it's just being smart with your time. But that is just my opinion. I feel like to each their own. Like if you want to put yourself through it, I have also done that, so I respect that. But if you're like, no, I also respect that. Because when, I don't know if you guys saw, I did a Bruno Mars Silly Duck, and there's like a, oh my gosh, what's it called? Stained glass window. That's it. Guys, I'm losing my English. There's a stained glass window in the background. And I know that if I had taken the time, I could have perfectly recreated that stained glass window. But that would have been hours of work. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I took a screenshot from the image I was referencing anyway, and I just traced over the lines for the window. And I was like, what do I have to prove? Like, I know I can do this if I had to, but like, I'm not about to pour 5+ hours into perfecting something that I don't feel like is that, it was meaningful to me, but I needed it done that week. So I feel like you gotta pick and choose your battles. Now, if I really wanted to master like painting stained glass windows, then I would absolutely take that time to study and get good at drawing like architecture and whatnot. But I'm not doing that. I think I'm gonna put one back here. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my way of thinking about it. All right. So after I did the line work, I think what I did, let me check I did some like color variation in the greens. Let's make this a little more warm, maybe. Or maybe lighter. I kind of did like this. Like imagine there was some highlights. And then I even did some on the tomato part. We're gonna stick with the cooler ones. I think we're gonna use darker. Just very carefully, randomly selecting sides I wanna. All right, I think that's good. All right, so let me name this tomato line and stem line. Let's do tomato fill. All right, for the fill, I think I used this brush here. Cool. I think I'll do warmer reds for the inside. And I think what I remember doing is I worked from the outside gently and worked my way in. Kind of like to define the form a little. Isn't this like the best brush though? Like look at this texture. Oh my gosh. There's like certain brushes you find where you're like, you know, they're going on your list of brushes you're gonna be using a lot. That's how I feel about this one. I feel like it goes very, I like brushes that can be applied very lightly because I really like to layer. I think it's the watercolor artist in me because I'm so used to like working in very light layers and then building them up over time. And so this brush is perfect for that. I'm thinking, did I just do like vertical strokes? I also need to pay attention to like how I'm putting down my brush strokes. Let's see if we can blend these in. Okay, and then once I had the sides, I went to like a warmer. Because I don't want my highlights to be perfectly white. I think that helps give it that vintage feel that I was kind of getting. So we did that. All right, then I think it's safe to add a little bit of orange. Kind of blend these two tones in here. All right, then we're gonna go back to red. I think I want to add a little bit more color in here on the sides. I didn't make the orange collection that saturated, so I gotta be careful, guys, about how much color I put into this. But you know what? We can always desaturate it later once we have them all together. But let's take up the highlight a little bit here. Put it in there a little bit. This is not turning out as lovely as the orange one was. I don't know what's happening. We'll figure it out. I think I want more highlight. Reds are always hard to get right, though. It's kind of a sad looking tomato. Hold up. Let me reference this. Get rid of those lines. What's the other one? Oh. I don't like it. Okay, not me naming. Don't mind the file name is spelled incorrectly. Although I don't know if you guys can see that. Alright, hold up. I actually think we need to up the saturation. I think that might be what's it. That's bothering me. It looks a little bit better. But maybe let's do some cooler reds in here. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, we need to use warmer saturated reds in the highlights. And then use cooler reds for our shadow area. I think that's the key. You guys are gonna hate me, but I want to restart because I want to have the exact method I use kind of planned out. So I think what we do is we fill the whole tomato with this light, bright red. And then we start layering on top with the shadow. Normally, I would separate these layers, but I wasn't doing that for this. All right, kind of cooler here. We can clean up the edges later. All right, not bad. Let's warm that up a little bit. Sounds like a bright pink or fuchsia, which I think I like better. Okay, now we're gonna add a little bit of our highlights in here. This does feel better, but I'm not sure I'm 100% sold. Let's just do a little more shading here in the corners. And what if we use like a pink as our highlight? All right, let's do the stem fill. I feel like if I develop a better method when I'm working on the other ones, we'll just kind of switch to that. But that's a nice thing, is we can always go back and make changes, or we're fully committed to it. Do a little bit lighter. But these greens are a little too bright. All right. Not terrible. Let me turn up the music. Here we go. I like this. I like this better, actually. Oh wait, we gotta clean up the edges here. Alright, looks pretty good. Let me name this tomato fill. Stem fill. Yep, I like it. Let's try the other one. I think I'm just gonna do this one next. Let's make it a wee bit bigger. This is our rough sketch. Do a white fill for the background. Once you get like the method down, you can kind of just pipeline it. Where you do this, and then this, and it's just like step by step. But it's when you're kind of like first establishing, it is a little bit more difficult. I don't know why the feel like the line work is so much thicker on this one. Earlier when I was working on some silly ducks, Photoshop was being such a pain. I know I keep saying that I need to update it, and then I don't, but I really need to, because it seems to just really lag it out when I try to rotate the canvas, and it's not on a perfect like angle. It just, some reason, will lag out the brushes. Kind of weird. And then I crashed it while I was working on doing the thumbnail for this video, like the streaming thumbnail. Apparently, in this version, I thought I had fixed it because I thought it worked when I changed the layer to a smart object like we were doing here. And then if I use the camera raw filter, which gives you like the photo editing functions, because I just want to like up the brightness and balance the colors. If you do that, normally without converting it to smart object, I was having Photoshop crash. Well, it doesn't really crash, it just stops functioning, and then I have to like force end the the program. And so my workaround is that if I converted it to a smart object, it some reason worked, but today that also crashed it. So I think I officially need to just update it. And then whatever problems we run into, then we will either revert back to an older version, or maybe it'll be an issue that isn't like a deal breaker, because I've had this issue and I haven't changed anything, so I've found workarounds. But like I just need to, I really need to update it. Alrighty, this is the tomato line work. Let's go back to our greens. You know what? We need to take a screenshot of this and I'll put it up on my other monitor. That way I can reference it. Only problem is my one monitor is actually slightly different color shade. It's more blue. My tablet actually has the truest color, but each of my monitors, like my far right monitor is really, really blue. And then my middle one here is like kind of blue, but a little less saturation overall. And so I have to be careful if I have like a reference up on either one that I'm not doing it too blue or too undersaturated. But it works good enough. Alright, stem. These ones kind of like curl up, but that's probably good. Yeah, I'm still on the fence though about tomorrow's stream. I don't know if I should do a gouache painting with you guys because I need to practice more with those. Or we do some storyboard studies like we did last week. I think I'm just gonna go by how much like brain power I have left, because doing the storyboard studies do take a lot of energy. But it also depends. I haven't checked the weather. If it's rainy, there won't be enough sunlight coming through my window to paint. So I really should check the weather. Sometimes I like living though, where it's like, it's better if I don't know and just live like each day as it comes. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you know, it is gonna be what it's gonna be. Granted, if there's like a major storm coming, I usually know through like my parents who will love to talk about the weather. And so I don't have to worry about, you know, suddenly there's like 3 foot of snow and I didn't know about it. But in general, unless it's like terrible weather, I'd rather just not know. Can wake up surprised each day. Okay, now we need to do the fill. Alright, first we did bright red. And then we did the cooler red. Alright. I feel like that's not as bright as I was doing before. I think it's more like... probably more like... bingo. Also, like, there's like a slight canvas texture on this brush, but that adds a nice effect to it. Also, on the other pattern prints I made, I added like an overlay that was kind of like a canvas texture, so it really goes well together. Did I fill it all in? I think I did actually. We're lagging on our brush a little bit. Alright, then we did like a lighter, like a pinky tone there. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% the same. Like, I do want them to vary a little bit. I'll try and keep the process as similar as we can. It's pretty pink. Let's do a little more red. I really wish this wasn't lagging out the brush a little bit. When there's like a delay to your brush stroke, it kind of takes you out of it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel as natural because you're like waiting for it to happen. All right, that's better. Now let's go in with our cooler like fuchsia shade down here. How's that looking? Not bad. I've gotten into a terrible habit of having like 2 cups of coffee every day. And that's how I know that like winter has lasted way too long. Because on like warm days, I have such a like much easier time waking up and just feeling like alert. But it has been so cold again. And after we had like that beautiful weather, it just feels extra cruel to have it back to like winter coldness. I'm just like ready for a 3rd cup of coffee by noon. I'm like, I know I shouldn't be doing it. It's cold here too. Yeah, I can imagine it's... I mean, you're like much... You're in... Is it Michigan? I think that's where you said you were. You guys have like way colder weather than what we get here. So I don't really have room to complain. Yeah. I'm just like, at some point, we're gonna get warmer weather. It has to happen. Alright, I think I did some soft pinks then. Here in the highlights. I'm just ready for like... I like the weather in May and June. I realize June's like kind of pushing summer, but to me, that's like the best time of the year. Because it's like warm, but without too much humidity. It's so nice. Alright, how's this looking? Pretty good, I think. Do a little more pink up here in the highlights. Alright, now we need to clean it up. But March is always weird, you know? Where it's like you never know what you're gonna get. Alright, this is good. Let's save it and see how it looks next to the other one we did. And then we'll come back and do the stem. Please look good. Okay. Oh, okay. I did the other one more like warm red, but I kind of like the difference. Like I wanted variation. So I think we're doing all right. Okay. We're doing good. Alright, let's name this and fill this. I'm gonna erase out the red behind this. Let's do maybe some like more yellowy greens. I think that would be pleasant. Let me turn the background. Oh, that helps. And I'm just gonna do a little bit more yellow. I might need to get some tea. Also because of the cold weather, like I have my heater running again. And my room gets pretty darn dry. So I don't want to lose my voice while on stream. Alrighty. That's that tomato. We just need to do one more. Dun, 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 dun. They look good. Let's convert this to smart object. I have to say, when I was doing the orange ones, the tomatoes are my least favorite to do. I think the onions and the peppers were probably my favorite. Oh, and the carrots. The pumpkins were all right. But for some reason, I don't love doing tomatoes, but I want to incorporate them, so just gotta do it. Just gotta put on my Nike shoes and do it. Alright, let's put a background here. Tomato line. Let's do this one with like a pinker line work, I think. This one almost looks like an apple. That's alright. Some tomatoes kind of look like apples. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. I can't get this line right. Okay, we're just gonna start up here. There we go. And we'll do the stem line. I think I'll get my tea after we finish this tomato. I've got a film shoot to do sound for tonight. Oh man, so I'm going to start getting ready to go. Have a good night. Oh, well, thank you for stopping by, Base Cat. Best of luck on your project. All right, we got the stem in here. I think I'm gonna do darker greens on this one, guys. All right, and then we'll load this. I think I'll make these. No, I don't want to make them too big. There we go. Erase the tomato in the background here. There we go. Oh, I need to add the color variation into the stem. Hold up. Oh, it's a bit too light. Do. Maybe a little darker in here. That looks good. All right, back to our tomato line. Let's use a warmer, brighter red as our little accent color, since we opted for the cooler one. Hold up. Might clean that up a little bit. There we go. Do. Alright, looks good. Let me recenter this. Alright. Tomato. Fill. Okay, we're gonna do slightly warmer on this one. Let's start with our bright color here. It's a little pink. I'm gonna roll with it because we're gonna layer up some other colors. Do 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 do. You know what I want to try doing? Like, I know Joe has the plushie already of his penguin, Reggie. But I would like to do... Like, I used to sew a lot more. And I enjoyed making plushies. But it would be fun to try and make a Reggie plushie that was based off of my artwork. I feel like that would be kind of fun. I feel like it's... I took a lot of creative liberties as I kind of developed his character from the plushie he has. And it would be fun to have one that looked more like his character, Reggie. Because I wanted it to feel more like personalized, the drawings that I did. So it wasn't just like a direct sketch of the plushie. So I'm like, that would be kind of interesting to try and do. My pattern drafting skills are pretty meh, but you know, we can work on it on stream and kind of get warmed back up to sewing. Might be kind of fun. The hard part is you gotta get like fabric for everything, which gets expensive. I did like making like plushies out of scrap fabric that I had. That's how I made this little calcifer plushie from House of Castle. I did not draft the pattern for this though. There was someone who had a pattern. But it's all like scrap fabric I had. And then I actually stuffed it with tiny scraps of fabric. So it's not super like squishy, it's actually pretty heavy. But it's, you know, it's a good paperweight. And it stands up nicely. So it'd be kind of fun to do something more like that. I kind of like the patchwork look. Yep, this looks a bit like an apple. I think we need to work some orangey shades into it. Let's go a little lighter here. What if we actually did orange? That's probably not a bad idea if I'm having trouble with it looking too much like an apple. And then let's do just a little darker shading down here. Alright, cool. Let's clean it up. I always forget to use like short brush strokes because if you Control Z after working so far, you're back to 0. Like, I gotta stop doing everything in one stroke. Because I'll accidentally erase where I shouldn't. Righto, let's see. Let's do the stem fill before we... Not me fat fingering my keyboard. All right. Do 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 do. The song's catchy. What is this one called? 9 a.m. I feel like I'm not as peppy as this song is for 9 a.m. This is like the morning people song. And that I am not. I aspire to be a morning person. Even when I am actually getting up at times that would be morning person times, I still do not consider myself a morning person. I do it against my own will. These look good together. because we have like a cool one, we've got like a in-between cool and warm, and then we have like this warmer one I just did. This like dark patch in the center of that one's driving me crazy though. Let's fix it. Let's go warm here. A little better. All right, I think that's it on the tomatoes. This one's saved. This one's saved. Yeah, these look good. Let's go. Okay, so next we have, oh, more tomatoes. Yay. These are cherry tomatoes though, so it's a little different. I'm gonna save a screenshot of these all together. I can put it in my Pura file up here. Let me show you guys. These are like all the ones I had pulled up here when I was referencing my other ones. And then I have a color wheel too. I feel like maybe not everybody has this issue. And like I understand like color theory, like I would say I have a fairly decent grasp on it. But some reason whenever someone's like, oh, what's the opposite color of orange or what's the opposite color of green? Your girl needs a color wheel. I, for some reason, just have like memory blankness and I just need to have a color wheel. So what I would love to do at some point is paint my own color wheel to have in my room so I don't need it pulled up digitally. I can just look over at it. Maybe we could do that with gouache. That would be kind of fun. But yeah. I still need a color wheel. It's like I still need a calculator even for basic math. I'm just one of those people. Like I gotta be real. You know what's also like, how do I word this? It's not necessarily, it's humbling. I was gonna say embarrassing. It's humbling when like someone asks me how to mix a color and they're like, oh, red and blue make what, you know? And some reason, like, I think it's whenever someone asks me a technical question that like if I answer it really poorly, they're gonna think I'm stupid. Anytime I ask something like that, my brain goes blank. And I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. Even though I clearly do. Like, but you know, I'm just like, I don't know if you guys can relate, but there's like this, anytime there's like pressure, some of the most basic concepts are suddenly like way too hard for me to figure out in a split second. It's also tough because I usually don't think in, like when I'm working digitally, I don't have to mix colors. And then when I'm working with my paints, I don't really have what you would call like a perfect red. And I don't have a perfect blue. I have blues that are warmer and then I have blues that are cooler. And then I have reds that are warmer and I have reds that are cooler. And so when someone's like, oh, mix purple, I'm like, I don't really think purple. I think like what specific shade of in the purple range do you want? Because there's warm purple, there's cool purple. And then there's like some purples that I can't even physically mix with the paints I have in watercolors. So, you know, there's a lot of limitations when you're talking about physical pigments. So I don't always have like the paints I need to reach specific colors. So I don't usually just think like how you're taught in school when you're a little kid, like we mix this and this, it makes this. But when you start getting into like painting and actually mixing like pigments, you quickly realize that there's like so much, I guess, like color diversity. And I just kind of stopped thinking in that way. I think more of like, I have a vision in my head of the color that I want. And then when I'm familiar with my color palette, like my watercolor one, I know exactly which red I should reach for and which blue I should reach for to make that purple that I need. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. But anyway, cherry tomato. And then we're gonna do rhubarb. But first, I need to go get a cup of tea because my throat is getting dry. So guys, I'm gonna get some tea and then I'm gonna BRB. Where did I put that overlay? Bum 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 bum. Okay, be right back. All right, chat, I'm back. Got tea. I got a little delayed because I ran into Joe. Shout out to Joe. He made all the music that you're hearing on stream. And if you check the description of the stream, you'll see a link to his YouTube channel. He's so close to reaching 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to Joe. He would very much appreciate it. He makes a lot of like chill music like this, but he also does like epic orchestral stuff. And then when he streams, he does a lot of different other genres. He was just showing me like I don't know what you'd call it, like club type music he had to write in like 12 minutes. It's really good. So I'm trying to like get him to write some pop music as well. But you guys can check out his YouTube channel, and I believe he has all the links to his streaming stuff on there as well. But we are going to do cherry tomatoes, which I don't want to do tomatoes anymore, but we're gonna do it. All right, we got a rough sketch here. Today probably would have been a good day to paint with gouache paints because like it is really bright outside. I think I see like one cloud. So opportunity missed, but that's all right. Somewhere over here, there's something making this bigger than it is. There we go. Tomato line. I'm like, what am I doing? Let's do a little bit darker. I accidentally shrunk my brush. I don't want to do that. These are kind of like some are seeing the tops and then some are seeing like the bottom. You know what, that would be fun if I do gaming on stream. I was like, what if I turn like some of my, you know how in like Photoshop you can, I think there's a filter for that, but you like pixelate it, right? And so I could turn one of my art pieces into like pixel art and then rebuild it in Minecraft. That would be kind of fun. Granted, that might be a little bit tedious, but you know what? I kind of want to try it. Recently I wanted to try getting into like pixel art. I've always been a little bit interested in it. I'm like, I should give it a shot. All right, let's make sure I don't oversteep this. Almost dropped that on the floor. Like, trying so hard not to break things. I have a tendency of breaking things, though. Like that stream where I dropped my disco ball. I was lucky that it didn't break my keyboard because it landed it landed on my keyboard. I was like, good job, Emma. I get it from my mom. She drops a lot of stuff. It's a bit of a hazard in the kitchen when she's cooking. But my mom's kind of like the person that, like, she doesn't just cook. I mean, she cooks for like meal reasons, right? But she also cooks to experiment. Like, she really likes to play around with different recipes and whatnot. So like the kitchen is like her, it's like her workspace, you know? She's a bit like a chef. Just not as serious, and she doesn't swear. So she's not at all like Gordon Ramsay. which is good. I don't think I could handle that in the kitchen all the time. Yeah, I don't think I could be a chef, guys. I don't think I could do like with the stress, you know? That said, I do like appreciate. I think I would see myself more as a baker. Like that seems more chill, you know? Like I think I could do that. When I was like 15, 16, I was really into like baking cakes and stuff. I really wanted to get into like getting really good at decorating, but it kind of like fizzled out. It's tough because you don't always have all the equipment you need. And it was also tough because like I was doing it in my home kitchen, you know, and it's a small kitchen. And let's just say we have a busy household. So it wasn't easy having like the space for me to work. So I got into art instead. And here we are. Hold up, we gotta turn up this music a little. Ba, 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 ba. We should listen to Joe's his new song. See if it's in here. Where did it go? I want to listen to his end song. All right, everybody, hold the phone. I'm gonna mute this for a second. Do 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 do. All right, we gotta switch things up a little. Oh, we got like Legend of Zelda inspired one. We could listen to that, and then let's listen to the piano version of Sleepy Time, and then the Ender, and then what's the other one I liked? Oh, Stars of Near, that's also a good one. Oh, that one starts out exciting. Okay, we got a lot of tabs open. That's not it. Okay, here we go. We'll start with the Legend of Zelda one. Let me ease you guys into this. This one's gonna keep us awake. That's all I'm saying. Alright, we're gonna do brighter red. It's like the pressure's on. Super serious tomato painting. It's like a whole vibe change. Maybe I shouldn't have played this one. We're committed though. This does feel like Legend of Zelda. I feel like you did good at capturing that. Those games are great. I'm excited for the new Pokemon games. But we gotta wait a long time. Like, well, I've waited this long. Granted, there are a lot of ones I haven't played, so I guess I could play those while I wait. Let's add one more red, like warm red into this. I feel like I played this one on stream before and I was like, man, this is very serious. And then I did it again. Oh, you know what I saw the trailer for today, guys? The new Spider-Man movie. That I'm excited for. I didn't notice it in the trailer, but apparently I need to rewatch it. But hold up, this is getting too distracting. Let me turn it down. Let's play the lobby theme. Sorry, Joe. It's too serious for stream. So they're like, we're supposed to have Venom in the story. And so apparently he was in it, the guy. But I didn't pick up on it. I missed it. So I need to rewatch it again. But that's what I'm very excited about. I feel like... Was there a... Spider-Man... This is Spider-Man 3. What was 2? 2 is like the dude with all the drones. I think. I liked 1, I think, better. You know, I was thinking while I was watching the trailer, you know how there's like a bunch of different Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse? I was like, I would love some movies, like live action movies about like the Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse. Like, I want their like origin Spider-Man story. Like, I don't care if the plot's the same. Like, the fact that it's like a whole different universe or like a whole different person, like just those subtle changes I feel like would be really interesting. So I'm like, I wish they would do some of that. But there's supposed to be a new Spider-Man, like Into the Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man. It's like noir Spider-Verse, whatever. It looks really cool. It's like all in black and white. I'm trying to remember when I watched like the trailer for that. I love the Spider-Verse movies. They're, oh my gosh, they're art pieces. They remind me of the League of Legends Arcane series. It's like you can pause it anywhere while you're watching it and it's like instantly like a background screensaver. Like, oh my gosh, so beautiful. We should probably do like paint studies from that. I've done like composition studies from that for like storyboarding. I need to do more because there's really a lot you can learn. Because they're just so like between like the color theory, which is amazing, and the textures, but also like compositionally how they frame characters and move from shot to shot. Like, oh, so good. All right, everybody, that was lobby theme piano version for the Grace Roblox game. The song is also known as Sleepy Time, which is on Joe's Horizons Volume 2 album, I believe. And now we're going to listen to The Ender, which is his fan-made Minecraft music disc song that's like Minecraft vibes, but it's for The Ender. I really like it. I feel like he really captured the Minecraft. Let me turn this one up for you guys. I want to put it on loop too, because I want to listen to it more than once. I feel like it's really catchy. It gets stuck in your head. I was playing, I don't usually play Minecraft actually much anymore. But I got on to play with my sister, and I saw they had the lava chicken like disc in Minecraft. I'm like, genius. Like, why did I not know about this? But I have a confession, guys. I haven't actually watched the Minecraft movie. I kind of feel like a little bit of a traitor. Minecraft was... I feel like Minecraft is up there with like Little Big Planet, heck, even Age of Empires, in the sense like they were games that I used to kind of like explore creativity and like creating. So with Little Big Planet, like I like to customize like my outfits as well as my worlds and like create stuff. And then with Age of Empires, like I think it's like Age of Empires 1 or whatever, you could like customize your own map. And so I would build like my own little worlds in there. And then Minecraft, I built a lot in Minecraft. I played survival for a hot minute, and then I got into doing creative. And then my younger sister Rose, she had a friend who had like a Minecraft server, so we would build together a lot of like the spawns and like main buildings and stuff like that. And then on my own, I would just kind of build stuff, and I really like doing like big projects. So yeah, Minecraft is... I feel like there were a lot of like... I used to do some pixel art on there actually. I feel like through like architecture, I was able to kind of like explore ideas I had. I just feel like the games I'm mostly drawn to is where I feel like I can create or build something. So that's why I really like Dune and Enshrouded. All right, now we got Stars of Nirn. But I also like Infinity Nikki. Like, y'all know I'm into fashion, so I like that. Like, but in the same sense, like building outfits and building a home are very similar. Like when it comes down to, it's all about like design and like, do you want it to be cohesive? Do you want certain elements to stand out? Like, what are your focal points? It's very, very similar. So I like to like listen to an audiobook and just kind of zone out from the world and just create for fun. So I went a little bit crazy on building a new like house in Dune. I think it turned out pretty good. I have some plans to make it a little bit better, but I want to play more Enshrouded. You can get really crazy with your builds on there. The problem is like some of those games are a little bit overwhelming. I get a little bit intimidated by like all the possibilities. So it's best if I usually just like start with a small idea and then build off of it. Otherwise I just get like way too overwhelmed. All right, let's see how this looks. Ooh, not bad, not bad. I feel like the balance isn't quite right here. Like maybe we need to... Do something like that. Yeah, that feels better. I feel like this song reminds me, I like this one a lot because it reminds me a little bit of the Merlin soundtrack. Like the BBC TV series one. Tomato 9. And I absolutely love that. Love that series. Alright, now I'm gonna do a warmer red on these ones. Did I do one? Yeah, I think that's gonna be fine. Guys, I was thinking about the gouache paint study we did last week. And I've been watching a lot of people and their process. And I think what I did wrong is I mean, shocker, right? I approached it like a watercolor painting. And I think what I need to do is think even more like an oil artist. I never really got into acrylic, so it may be part of like the acrylic method, but I think I need to work dark to light. And I think I was still working too light to dark. It's still like odd to me to think that I can paint with light with them because they feel like watercolors, but they're much more opaque. And so I think what I was doing wrong is that I was trying to like paint very, very timidly, and I did not get it dark enough and work towards the lights like I should have. So next time, I think I might just scrap the flower I was working on, because like, why keep trying something that's not working and start a new one? And then we're gonna try and work with a different process on that one. And I think it might work better. So assuming the weather is decent, we might do that tomorrow. Which I could check the weather here quick so you guys can know. Tomatoes, let's be the line. Because now that I'm thinking about the paints, I really do want to use them. Like I want to get the hang of it. Sorry guys, I gotta respond. Weather, whether we like it or not. Weather. Here we go. It's loading. Yeah, today it's like a high of 36 degrees. And you better believe it's windy, because it is always windy here. All right, tomorrow, mostly cloudy, not as cold. Oh, let's go. Slight chance of spotty shower in the evening. Usually when it says mostly cloudy, it's usually like not like fully overcast. So, well, it might be. All right, guys, nothing's set in stone. But I'm thinking there's like a 65% chance we paint with gouaches tomorrow. With gouaches? Is that the we paint with gouache tomorrow. And then the other percent, we're gonna do a storyboard study if it ends up being way too dark. But I'll let you guys know on my Instagram story ahead of time. All right, let's get these stems in here. I think I had the branch come like this. And then these points came out like that. I don't know. Doesn't feel like. Oh, let me pull up my reference. How did I do that? I think I made them a little more pointed. I think I brought out the ends a little bit more. And maybe we don't go crazy with the... Okay. Do, 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 do. Oh, you know what? This one I was supposed to be seeing the top of, I think. That's what I did wrong on this one. Actually, let's draw this, the little... I'm just gonna call them leaves. Little stem leaf things. Okay. That seems good. Let's do the fill. How did I do the other ones? Let's try and do these a little more red. I think a little less on the pink side. Just go for there. Oh, you know what I did do, guys? I didn't put in a background here. There we go. That helps. I think I may have put this one in a little bit too heavy. Let's thin that out. I like it when the texture comes through. Layer that a little bit. I feel like these are really peaceful too. Like paint. Once you get the line work in, it almost feels like you're just working on a coloring book. But you're like overachieving in the coloring book. And we're just gonna make it a little bit warmer here. In the highlight zone. Also saw there was a trailer for Dune 3. I watched that. I started reading the books but never got very far. But it looks like this is going to be the last movie, or at least that's what the trailer was making it sound like. But I thought it was interesting because, like, I went to the comment section. I'm like, somebody else has to be thinking this. But they're, like, making the point that, like, this is pretty much just the beginning of what the books cover. And so, it's not really the whole series, but I'm like, from what I read, like, I can't even imagine trying to break down that for, like, making it into a film. Like, it's a lot. From what I read, it's just like a lot of information. You're given a lot of information. And like, when you're making a movie from like a book that's like that full, you really have to pick and choose what you're able to fit, and like what's important information, what's too much information, and like what's gonna be entertaining. So honestly, like, crazy respect for anyone, like them being brave enough to even tackle the Dune books. Like, I'd have been way too scared. I did hear that like the later books get like a little weird. I'm like, well, I don't know, but I've never gotten that far. I think I was only like, I don't know, like a fourth way through the first book. I was reading the Stormlight Archives series at the same time, and I really like the way Brandon Sanderson writes. I feel like it, how do I describe it? It's a lot lighter of a read, but also like his books have like crazy deep like lore. So they're easy to consume in a way that like it's written that you don't feel like you're reading a history book necessarily. Like you're fed information at a really like lovely pace. And that's why I like Brandon Sanderson's books, because they're easy for me to like listen to on audiobook. And I feel like the story's deep enough that I'm interested. Also love books that have big world building, and his definitely has that. But not in the sense where it's like I don't have necessarily the brain power to be, you know, like I used to read like the Silmarillion, and I would have like my family trees out and my maps, and I had a lot more time on my hand when I was like 14. Like I'm a multitasker now. So I really like Brandon Sanderson's books, and Dune was a little bit too much for me. I think younger me would have probably had an easier time reading it than me now. I feel like I wouldn't say my attention span, but like, I don't know. I feel like the problem is the time I use to listen to books is my like downtime. And I just want like my downtime to be really like something where I don't have to use my brain at like full capacity, but I can use it in, you know, like a light sort of way. And I just find that Dune was a bit much for me. But I'm not opposed to picking up the book again. So maybe at some point I'll do it. I don't know. Oh, we gotta clean these up. Hold up. This looks good though. Right now I'm reading the Mistborn series still. And I have to say, like the first part like takes place in a different time period than the second part of the books. And I was not prepared for the ending of the first part. Let's just say that. But I'm enjoying the second part. It also feels like, how do I describe it? It's like I finished the books not long ago, but like with the way the time periods happen in two different spaces, it almost feels really nostalgic when they reference back the characters back in time. And it's like they're all like old like mythological characters in the book lore because it's so much further in the future. But it's like to you, like you knew the characters. I don't know how to explain it. If you read the Mistborn series, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. Dun, dun, dun. They're really good books. They weren't what I was expecting them to be. I don't know. It feels very different, but also like similar to how he wrote the Stormlight Archives, but there is like a vibe difference. I feel like the Mistborn series I thought was gonna be less serious and not quite as deep of like story as the Stormlight Archives, and I have to say I was definitely very wrong. They're actually, I would say they feel more dark and like gritty than the Stormlight Archives series. And in terms of like lore, like Brandon Sanderson didn't hold back. Like it seems like every world he creates, like in his Cosmere, he puts so much time into. Like insane. I don't know how he keeps all his like information straight, because there's like different planets in the Cosmere, and like certain ones have different like magic abilities. I feel like I don't want to use magic as the term for it, but that's like the best way to explain it. And he has it like all so well broken down, and I think that's what makes his stories almost like very believable fantasy, in the sense that there's so much like reasoning and logic behind a lot of the abilities that people have in the books that it feels very believable. That's why I really like his stuff. But yeah, crazy. Like, I don't know how he would keep all that information straight. I'd have to have like so many sticky notes. I'm sure he has a much more organized way of doing than sticky notes, but he's been building his stories for a long time. I think we need to do... I want to add some like brighter segments on the tomatoes line work here. But I like to listen to them while I play like a video game. Usually I play Infinity Nikki. I am a terrible person though, where like I'll play a game that has a ton of dialogue, and certain dialogue moments I will read, but I'm like a speed reader, so like I'll be clicking through them really fast. So I can't say I know a whole lot about Infinity Nikki lore, because every time I play it I'm listening to an audiobook. But I'm like, I don't have the time to read all the text, because Infinity Nikki has so much to read if you really wanted to, and a lot of that is like not that meaningful, because it's like one of those games that has like you talk to one person and then they're like, go talk to so and so, so you walk 10 feet over, then you talk to them and they're like, oh no, a rabbit's eating my turnips, and then they're like, go talk to so and so again, so you gotta walk back, and it's just like lots and lots of dialogue. Love the game, but I can't say I've listened to all the dialogue, and so that's why it's perfect for listening to an audiobook while you play, because it'll highlight in blue what's important, so I just kind of like speed click through, and then I'm like, oh, that's important, and I'll read it. I'm like, I really hope and pray whoever had to write all this, like, it wasn't super important to them that I read it. I'm sure somebody's read it all. Like, no disrespect to the people who had to write it. Like, now if it's like audio where they have a voiceover with it, like, they don't always, then I know it's like important information, and then I'll pause my audiobook. But yeah, unless it's important, I'm like, I'm not pausing my book. This is more like top down of the tomato. This one's kind of on its side a little bit. I think I made it too long. I'm gonna make it a little bit rounder. I want to watch the Merlin series again, but they took it off of Netflix. I'm like, man. It's been a really long time since I watched them all. I think I need to make some Merlin themed silly decks. I still quote so many lines from that series daily. Right, the stem line work is gonna be a little more tricky on this one. Damn, I make it a little darker. Yeah, that seems good. Let's see, I don't want to get too... What if we cut sunlight this direction? I'm gonna have to erase out some of that tomato underneath. And down this way. And then out here. I don't want the stem to be... I want to thin it here a little bit. I feel like I need to be doing some type of like fantasy artwork while I'm listening to this music. Not really tomatoes. I feel like we need some like Hobbit vibe, Shire music. But it's hard finding like royalty-free stuff I can listen to. I need Joe to make some Lord of the Rings inspired music so I can listen to it on stream. Erase that out. Dish here. Okay. We're doing good. We're cruising through. Tomato. Fill. Is this our last? Yes, this is the third cherry tomato. Let's go. Love to have this finished before I ended stream today. Let's make that bigger. Not that big. I'm excited for the Mandalorian movie. I think that's coming out soon. Also, I need to know, has anyone in chat here watched Hoppers yet? I've heard good things. I believe it's at theaters now. I think it is. At first I thought, oh, it looks kind of like cringe, but then they released some like more like trailer clips and stuff, and then there were actually some funny moments. So I was like, oh, actually that could be that could be kind of funny. It's like on my bucket list to watch, but it's still like winter and I don't really want to go to a theater to see it because there do be a lot of sick kids out. And I really don't want to catch a cold. I remember when Frozen came out, we went to the theater to see it. And oh my gosh, it's like every child there had a cold. And their parents were like, well, screw those other people in the theater. We're taking them out to watch the movie. And afterwards I caught like, I don't think it was the flu, but it wasn't great. It was not fun. So now every time I think of like Frozen 1, I just associate it with being sick. Like, it ruined it for me. And ever since then, I'm like, I am not going out to a movie theater in the winter. I'm like, call me a germaphobe, whatever. I'm like, being sick sucks. Right, these look pretty good. I think I want to do a little bit of orange in here. I feel like I don't want to be that person. But it's like, if your kid is sick, I don't understand why they think it's fine to just take them out. Unless they don't fully understand like how germs spread. doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. That has always been a pet peeve of mine. But then again, like, there's people who go out while they're sick. I don't really understand that either. To me, I was like, even before like COVID, where you were supposed to be really careful, I was always like, yeah, if you're sick, don't go out because you're gonna get other people sick, and being sick sucks. And why would I want to do that to somebody else? But granted, like, if you have to go out because you need to grocery shop or whatever, like, be careful, like, about what you touch, like, and like, don't cough on people. But there's so many people out there who, like, they don't cover, and yeah. All right, I'll admit it, guys, I'm a bit of a germaphobe. I can't help it. But yeah, Frozen 1, I got sick after it. But anyway, Hoppers, yeah, that looked cute. I want to watch it. And what else do I want to watch? I'm trying to think of other... There's a Korean TV series that's getting a season 2, which I'm so excited for, in April. It's called Bloodhounds. And absolutely love the actors in it. The one guy in it, I've done like 3 portraits of him. So definitely thinking maybe I was talking about doing more portrait studies. Maybe after season 2 comes out, maybe we'll do a portrait of him from that series. That might be kind of fun. It's a very much like underdogs win type of TV series. Lots of action, lots of like fights in it. So absolutely down my alley. So I'm very, very excited for it. I was like obsessed with season 1, but it was only like, I'm gonna have to look this up, but I think it was only like 6 episodes, which if you guys are familiar with Korean dramas, that's insanely short. So I'm like, season 2, let's go. Very, very, very excited for it. I think it's April 3rd. I think that's when it's coming out. That's gonna be good. Better believe I'm gonna be watching it that day. I like having shows to like, at least one where like I'm waiting each week for it to come out, because it's really nice to have something to look forward to. And also, I have trouble pacing myself if I really love a series. Hey, Gecko! How you doing? We're just talking about movies we're excited to watch. And I was also talking about TV shows. So I'm excited for the new... There's gonna be a new Spider-Man movie. I saw the trailer for it today. Which, funny enough, there was like a fake like AI trailer made for the Spider-Man movie that me and my brother very embarrassingly like fell for the first watch through, and then we were like, wait a minute, and then on the second watch through we were like, this is fake. So when I saw the trailer this morning for the new Spider-Man movie, I had to like triple take to make sure it wasn't fake, but it's real. And so I'm excited for that. I like all the Spider-Man movies. Are you into like any of the Marvel Universe stuff, Gecko? I wasn't always into it. Like as I got older, I enjoyed it more. I usually like action type stuff, so let's brighten up the line work here. Maybe Wait, that's a stem line. A is becoming more and more indistinguishable from reality. Yeah, it was on second like watch. There was a lot of things though where like I was like, oh yeah, like why didn't I notice it the first time? Like one of the shots, I was like, man, Tom Holland looks different, but it went fast, so I didn't think about it. And then they had like a shot where he was in his room, and in that shot, he is like a double-sized bed, and then in the next one, it's like a single. And so it's like little things like that where things aren't consistent. I used to be a big Spider-Man fan when I was younger. I like the Tobey Maguire movies. Ah, okay, very good. A lot of people say that that was like the best Spider-Man. I think I've only ever watched the very first one. I don't think I've watched. How many Spider-Man movies are there? Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. I think there's a couple, aren't there? I've only ever watched one, I believe. I've been meaning to watch them. I really love like the crossover in the newer like Marvel one where they had all 3 Spider-Man there. That was amazing. All right, let's save this and see how it looks together. Spider-Man 3 was cool where he fought Venom. Oh my gosh, I need to watch that then. So wait a minute. You know what? I'm just gonna pull up the movies because I get very confused. Spider-Man order. I'm hoping it doesn't just show. So was that like a third Spider? Oh, that was 2007. Spider-Man 3. And that had Venom in it? That's really interesting. Because I know that that's supposed to happen in the next Spider-Man movie. Like the one that's part of the Marvel, like with Tom Holland. So I didn't realize they had that in any of the other Spider-Man movies. I absolutely need to watch it. Yeah, I need to do that, guys. I just have to figure out where I can stream it. I think I'm caught up on the Venom movies. It's a great movie. Okay, then I definitely need to. For the sake of lore, I have got to watch it. Even if it's old. I mean, a good movie's a good movie, you know? I mean, you think about the Lord of the Rings movies. That's even older than 2007, so... And they're still classics. Still really good. But I have a hard time considering anything from after the year 2000 is old. Yeah, that's a very valid point. Where was it? My brother was talking about like the last time he played a certain game, and he said it was 2019, and then he was like 7 years ago, and I was like, 2019 and 7 years ago don't seem to go together in my brain. Like, it just does not feel that long. But if you look at it, it has been 7 years. But like it both feels like it feels like it's been 7 years. But also like 2019 feels like yesterday to me. So it's tough. Or like, when did the first we were talking about Frozen earlier, like the Frozen movie, like when did that come out? Like that feels like yesterday, but I think that was like 2014. Yes, 2019 feels like yesterday, but it's almost a decade ago. Like, don't say that, Gecko. I'm gonna feel really old. Time goes way too fast. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Especially as I get older and older. I think it's because our perception... Wait, 2013? Oh my gosh. Wow. There you go. 2013, first Frozen movie. That's wild. All right, well, better keep dyeing my hair because I'm getting older than dirt and I'm gonna have gray hair soon. There's gonna be like, before you know it, it's gonna be like, it's the 20th anniversary since Frozen came out. Like, I'm not prepared for that. But guys, we finished the tomatoes. Actually, we didn't. Hold up. Oh no, we finished. We have all 3. These look pretty good. Let's take a snapshot of these so I have them in the reference. Do 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 do. Da, do do do. Let's put this in here. All right, we got the cherry tomatoes and the regular tomatoes. Our modern world has insanely quick pace. It's very true. Our everyday lives. Yeah, I feel like that does contribute a lot to things feeling a lot faster. I feel like I'm trying to like take every day in more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to be, I guess, more mindful through every day. I feel like I used to get every day as maybe like a chore. But even on like not good days, I'm trying to like take little moments to enjoy small things to kind of make the day feel more memorable. So it doesn't feel like every day is just flying by. So whether it's like taking a walk or like watching the sunset, I don't know. I feel like that's helping it, but it's still like time just, it's going faster and faster. Mindfulness is a good approach. Yeah, I find it's helping. It really just depends, but you know, I'll get like super focused on work, and you know, days just kind of like all blend together. So it's kind of tough. But this week I want to kind of go fast because Friday there's a K-pop band, BTS. I'm pretty sure you've heard of them, but they're releasing their new album. And like I've been like, can this week go by faster? Cause like I am so ready for Friday so I can listen to it. So in some cases when the days go really fast, it's kind of nice. Like it's actually not terrible thing. But on a general, I would say I prefer it when time goes slow. I wasn't always like that when I was younger, but I feel like now, like I just want things to slow down. Oh, cool. I'd like to give that a listen too. Yeah, it's gonna be Friday. Their new album's name is Arirang, and you can pre-save it if you want, if you have Spotify. But if you don't, it'll also be probably definitely on Apple Music too, if you have that. But it's supposed to be really good. It's their like kind of like comeback album. It's gonna be crazy. When I was 10, a month was like 10 years. No, same. Now it's the other way around. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I talked about this once with my brother, and he made a good point. And I think it's because, like, when you're... Let me pause the music so I can articulate this properly. When you're younger, it's like 5 years. Like, if you're 5 years old, all you know is the length of 5 years. You have nothing else to compare it with. And then when you're like 10 years old, so you're twice that age. And so 5 years feels a lot less than it did when you were like 5, because when you were 5, it's like your whole existence was 5 years. And then, you know, that sort of like way of thinking, I think, just keeps going as we age. And so I'm 26, and it's like 5 years ago, it was 2021. And to me, there hasn't been that much like change in my life. I think also like depending on like how your life goes, right? But like I haven't moved to a new house, you know, anything like that. There haven't been any like giant major life changing things. And so like 5 years doesn't feel like much, but when you are 5 years old, your perception of what 5 years is everything to you. But now I'm already like, I'm like fives, like years. I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's like 5 years doesn't mean as much because I've experienced so many 5 years. I never looked at it that way, but that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it does. I don't know what, it was just some random day I was talking about how time feels fast, and my brother was kind of talking about like how he kind of thinks about it. And I was like, that makes a lot more sense. So I feel like that's why, like, I think you'll notice this with anybody when you talk to them, like if they're older than you, like I don't care how much older, how much younger, whatever. But it seems like the older humans get, like I know my grandmother says this a lot, where she's just like, you know, like a year or 2 years, 3 years feels so much shorter to her. And when you think about it, when you're like in your 80s, like how much, like even 10 years, that would only bring you back to like 70 years old. Like it doesn't, a decade doesn't mean as much. But on the upside, like, you know, it's a blessing to, you know, get to age. And so I'm grateful, but I wish that it would slow down. Like I'm grateful that I get to age. But I'm not grateful for the speed in which it seems to be increasing. But yeah, guys, that's my end of stream thoughts on the way time speeds up as you age. Aging is a blessing. We shall enjoy every moment and make the most of it. It's very true. I feel like I wish I would have known that in my teens, but I feel like in your teens, everyone just has to go through the same process of making mistakes and then realizing in your like 20s that like, oh, I should have enjoyed things more. That's part of the process of life, I think. Oh, well. Well, guys, tomorrow I'm gonna be back. I'm thinking we're gonna do some painting with the gouache paints. But if it's really cloudy, we're gonna do some storyboard studies again, like we did last week as well. So I'll let you know on my Instagram what we end up doing. But if not, you'll just find out if you join stream tomorrow. So that's what we're gonna be doing. Guys, thank you for looking forward to tomorrow's stream. Awesome. Thank you everybody for joining. Gecko, it's nice chatting with you. And I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. Bye everybody.